Hi, everybody. My name is Jackie Clark, and today I have the pleasure and honor of speaking to four-time Grammy-nominated artist, recipient of an NAACP Image Award, a recipient of the Black Reel Awards, creator, actor, singer, songwriter, film writer, and all around, in my opinion, triple threat, Mr. Eric Grant.
How you doing, Jackie?
I'm great, Eric. How are you?
I'm talking to you. You're in Toronto, yeah?
I am.
I
In
I
Canada.
think I think that's where I'll be spending Christmas. You know, my wife is from Toronto, and we have a little place in Toronto, so we'll be on, you know,
You'll be over here.
we'll be on Yonge Street, and we'll be doing our thing.
Don't tell everybody, because then they're going to start following you and trying to look for you in the streets.
Uh-oh, let's not do that.
It's not snowing over here yet, so it's cold, but it's not snowing yet, so you're lucky. Um,
Well, you don't have much time before it starts snowing, so enjoy it.
that is true. That is true. Well, I'm
Hmm.
so grateful to chat with you and so excited to talk about Snap and jump right into it and get to know a little bit more about what you're working on. So, the Snap is going your new series on All Black AMC networks. For those who don't know, can you give us a quick synopsis of what it is?
Absolutely. SNAP is an attempt to get people to look at their own social or ethical biases and maybe hold a mirror up to the viewer and say, I know you've been programmed to think about this entire way your whole life, but maybe look at it this way. I think that, you know, um, well, in every episode, there is a character. His name is AO. And for lack of a better term, AO is God, a very earthly God, a very deceivingly human deity, but he's or she is God. And in every episode, some different actor plays God. And God holds that mirror up to the protagonist in that episode, like, yo, you might need to rethink how you've been operating, because if you don't, it could be catastrophic, or it may be the end of your life. So, and in the process of doing this, we bring up and face head on a lot of social issues um, that we're all struggling with right now. Everything from global warming to the right to choose, abortion rights, to toxic views towards the transgender community, uh, towards horrible and dangerous ethnic relations. So, we're not afraid to face these issues head on with Snap, and I'm just grateful that I've had the opportunity through All Black to be able to work with uh, talented directors and writers and actors to tell these stories.
I love that, and I like that AO is played by someone different each time. So I feel that brings in that element of relatability for a
Mhm.
male, female, or whatever the case may be. And then thinking of Snap, it kind of like just the name kind of reminds me of when they do, what is his name, Ebenezer Scrooge. When it's like
Yeah,
going back in time, it's kind of giving me
yeah.
that kind of concept, which I really enjoy.
Mhm.
So how did this concept of a psychological thriller come about? Like, I know you were the creator and writer. How did you come up with this concept?
I was actually, in the throes of COVID, like the rest of the world, and I wasn't able to tour.
Mm.
And my family, we decided, my wife and kids, we decided to hop in our RV and just go for this fun little trip across the country. And I was out in the middle of the desert in Utah, I think, just looking at the stars, and all of a sudden the story came to mind. I just found myself creating this character of a guy who was driving down a road very much like the ones I was driving on in my RV, who happened to stumble across a cafe and went into that cafe and started having conversations with people that were painful and enlightening. Um, uh, and I called a friend of mine, Devin Hampton, who is a director, And I said, yo, I got this idea for a short film. I never thought, initially, I didn't think it was going to be a series. I thought this was just going to be a short film of that one story. And Devin really dug the story that I wrote out. And he said, let's develop this as a script and call one of your rich people and let's shoot it as a short film. So, so I reached out to Primary Wave, who have been unbelievably instrumental in making all of this come to fruition, and they funded that short film. And after we watched this thing, we realized that okay, there's so many issues that we are struggling with and trying to maneuver through in the world today. This needs to be a series, like an anthology, and we need to have AO come in on this situation or that situation. And so that's luckily ALLBLK agreed, and now we have a 6 series snap.
Cool. I like that. And I think that's when the best ideas come, when you're just kind of in the middle of doing nothing, in the middle of nowhere, and something
Yep.
happen. So I love that. And I know you play a lead role in the series. Can you shed a little bit about your lead role with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So the story that I described when I came up with when I was in the desert, that is an episode now called Fake News. And it was a lot of fun to I don't know, I guess I can give it away a little bit and say that I don't know. I won't say. Anyway, so the AO in that character, you don't know who it is. And it was really fun to be a character who is the viewer is going to be second guessing, trying to figure out what's going on in this little up and down emotional little story. And there's another episode where I play AO, and it's an episode that we decided to tackle the women's right to choose abortion rights in an episode, and we decided to make that a musical. And so there were added challenges there because I'm the music supervisor of that episode as well, and I'm writing or co-writing the songs and casting as well. And I knew that the person who was going to be the lead in this particular episode, just knowing how I write music, like she can't just sing, she got to be able to sing. And we found this brilliant budding Broadway star. Her name is Morgan Riley, and she's just phenomenal in that episode. And that episode is called Pro-Life. And so so I'm playing AO in two different episodes. And we have Tisha Campbell, we have Clifton Powell, we have Amaya Scott, and it's just it's really exciting. And I hope that people, if nothing else, I hope people see these episodes and really do a little soul searching and realize, let me think a little bit harder on this subject that maybe I dismissed or didn't put a little thought or energy into. Maybe I need to really start thinking about that. That's the best case scenario I have for Snap, that it leaves people wanting to think about how they view things that they've, just kind of already come to foregone conclusions about,
I agree. The world is changing so much. And I think a lot of us have skewed or traumatizing views, and that we're not looking beyond the curtain. So I definitely am excited to see how you guys bring some of these triggering emotional scenarios and really kind of widen people's eyes. So with talking about triggering, I know obviously you're a writer, obviously actor and creator of it. When creating these scenes and within being on set, were any of the scenes triggering for yourself or the staff? And if so, like, how did you guys move through that, or how did you guys coach them for a scene that could be really hard?
There were a few. There were, without going into too much detail and not giving anything away, one that comes to mind is very talented actress, Miss Amaya Scott. She is on an episode called Human. And in this episode, we confront preconceived ideas and toxic, dare I say, ideas about transgender people. There was a moment that she was doing a scene, and in order to be present in this scene, it basically meant for her to be traumatized, which is a horrible feeling as a producer of something that I co-created, to watch talent that I asked to be a part of my art go stand over there and be traumatized until we get it right. And it's like, oh man, it was an incredibly difficult day. There was a moment where I had to stop production and just check in and ask if she was okay, and if there was anything that I can do, and do you need for us to stop for a while? And she was just so adamant about, no, we need to shoot now while I'm raw and while these emotions are right on my surface, because this is important. What we're doing is important, and the story that we're telling is important. And that kind of commitment to the art, to the craft of acting and storytelling, I cannot stress how grateful I am as a producer and as a content creator, because that level of devotion from the entire cast was there, from start to finish.
Wow, that sounds heavy, but it sounds enlightening at the same time. And so I'm just going to assume, like, one of the perspectives is that you guys wanted was to get people to really dig deep and really think about how actions and words can really be effective to, being human, if to say the least. And so
Absolutely.
with the current times, like, I know the show talks a lot about, deep-rooted societal issues, generational issues, racism, systemic, generational current, all of those things. Do you believe we are still in a form of modern enslavement within this day and age?
I do. I think it is clearly not as obvious and overt as it was a couple hundred years ago, but we are definitely. It's interesting, and I'm glad that ALLBLK decided to make the first episode the Willie Lynch episode. And for those out there who don't know who Willie Lynch was, Willie Lynch was a brilliant visionary, an evil, diabolical, disgusting, brilliant visionary who, when here in the United States, when slave owners were having, that inconvenient problem of slaves running away and not really wanting to be slaves anymore and fighting back, Willie Lynch came up with this manifesto of, look, if you follow my instructions, Mr. and Mrs. Slave owners, not only will your slaves be more obedient, and you will be able to control them better, but they will oppress themselves for generations. And I thought it was pretty powerful that the Willie Lynch letters were written in 1719, and he said that if you follow my rules to the letter, your slaves will oppress themselves for the next 300 years or more. And so I feel as though a very strong argument can be made that within the Black community, we don't have each other's back like other communities do. We don't pool our resources like others do. We don't, anyway. So, so I think that is a very specific form of mental slavery that I think still exists. But I mean, I think there are all kinds of slavery that still exists. There's the slavery of, oh man, you're gonna get me going off into some areas where I may get in trouble. The dogma of certain religions is a form of slavery. There's a consumerism slavery out here that there's a distraction slavery. I mean, we're living in a time now where one man, one egotistical, sickly, frail man can uh, push a button and end the entire world. But meanwhile, if you turn on television, we're constantly being distracted by stuff that does not matter. Go buy this. Ooh, look at this rapper is dating this new ex-stripper. Ooh, guess who just got a nose job? So it's like all these distractions when there are issues that are paramount to our existence. And I think if the more artwork, the more articles, the more books, the more movies, the more TV shows like Snap, who are at least trying to shed light on some issues that we ought to be thinking about more. I think we can't get enough of that and less of the other.
Absolutely. One of the biggest enslavements I find is our phone. We're attached. Like, I know I wake up,
Woo!
and the biggest thing is I grab my phone first before water,
I'm
or
guilty.
we all are. So
I'm
definitely
guilty.
resonated with everything you said. So to switch it up just a little bit, we are getting into the holiday season.
Mhm.
And I know, it's a good time of year, but also toggling back on what we talked about in terms of mindset and enslavement. How do you prepare your mind, your body for the roles and projects, or, the songs that you create? Like, how do you get into a great space to create your art?
Wow, what an excellent question, Jackie. I think every project has its own preparation.
Mhm.
I think that with Snap, there were so many different hats that I had to wear. There were so many preparations that needed to happen. Not just the acting, but you mean I'm actually going to be producing and co-producing a musical episode? Let me reach out to some of my friends on Broadway, and because I really want these songs to come off like a Broadway musical. As an actor, uh, let me dig deep with my acting coach, and I'm trying to play this character who's God, but he's a flawed God. He is a very human God. Let's try to create what that looks like. Um, I think with songwriting um, and music creation, it's a bit more accessible to me because I've been doing it so long. And there's so many emotions in my heart and mind that are um, instantly transferred to music. Like if I'm feeling remorse about something, in my mind, there's a soundtrack that's going on to that remorse. Or if I'm feeling happiness or excitement, there's a without any effort at all. There's just music that plays along with it in my personal soundtrack. And my challenge as a songwriter is let me transfer it from here to out here so people can like hear what all this dope stuff that's happening in here. It's a bit more of a challenge now that I'm writing stories because I'm trying to be an effective story writer, but I don't want to be contrived and I don't want to tell the same story that everybody else is doing in the same way. And I don't want it to be too predictable. And I'm new to this arena, and I know that I know that I run the risk of looking like a newbie. And maybe I do need to look like a newbie for a little while before I really nail it. And that's okay. So I'm working on my confidence in this arena. So hopefully on the next project, and we do have some other projects that we're shopping or developing right now. I'll get better.
And that sounds like creative people problems, things all us creatives have all the time. So
Yep.
I could talk to you for hours and for days, but I know we have to wrap this up. So
Likewise.
thank you. I have two last things. What would you describe your purpose is for this world, if you thought of that?
Ooh, wow. Jackie, you sure got some doozies, don't you? My purpose. I like to think that my purpose is to love as fearlessly as I possibly can, grow as effectively as I can, and in the process, affect the world as positively as I can through all of my discoveries.
I love that. I completely love that. And then lastly, since it's the holiday season, what is your favorite holiday song? But if you wouldn't mind humming or singing it for me, that would be amazing.
And this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me. Yeah. I just broke my rule because I told Layla, a friend of mine, and she just said on Twitter, she said, first of all, ain't nobody need to be recording that song except me because my daddy wrote it. And then I just sang it. So
Well,
anyway,
thank you
that's
for
the song.
singing that for me. I had a pleasure chatting with you. I wish you all the best. I'm excited for Snapped. I'm excited for all the projects and things you're going to do. I wish you a happy holiday for you and your
Thank
family.
you.
And just thank you for your time. It's your girl, Jackie, and I'm here with my special guest, Mr. Eric Benét. Thank you.
Maybe you'll see me at the Eaton Center or something around Christmas time.
I hope so.
All
Thank
right.